Question: are you trying to lose weight? Well, my guest this week knows a lot of women trying to lose weight and has built a business that's making her millions teaching people how to lose weight. So, how can you turn that thing that you're passionate about into a business? This week we speak to Jane Mukami. This is She Means Business. I am your host, Claire Munde. Hi, Jane.
Hi, Claire. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I'm well.
Welcome to She Means Business.
I'm honored.
Good to have you. You know, even when I was saying hi, I was keeping myself from saying fit Kenyan girl because that's how I've known you for the longest time. So you're here in Kenya.
Yep.
I want you to catch us up. What are you doing in Kenya? Because we know you live in the US.
Yeah.
What are you doing in Kenya? What have you been up to? Then we'll get to the conversation on what you do.
So I am home visiting. I try to come every other year, every 2 years. Yes, I do live in the US. And yes, you do know me as Fit Kenyan Girl. That is my social media, my Instagram handle. And that goes back to 10, 12 years ago when I started getting on social media, when I was super into fitness, which I still am. But as of 7, 8 years ago, I did a pivot. I rebranded to become a nutrition expert. So I no longer do fitness programs. I don't help people with workout. I am focused and specifically working with women and nutrition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about that branding and rebranding and the evolution of your brand.
Yeah.
Now, you look great, first of all.
Thank you.
You look really good. Tell us, you started in a sphere that not many people were in to begin with, this fitness evolution and all that. You had a program. I remember there were people who were crazy about it. Was it 7 or 10 days?
10.
Yes, the 10 days thing.
Yeah.
People tried it and everything. Now tell us, what was your thinking when getting into that space? Because your background is in IT, right?
Yes.
So what made you decide to leave IT, which is a lucrative space, to get into fitness and then now get into nutrition and build a whole online brand around that?
So I don't think I really got into it. And I say this because everything began with my own personal journey. So what happened is in 2008, I got divorced. I filed for divorce because of domestic abuse. And after getting divorced, I went into stress eating. I wasn't sure I'd made the right decision. I was young, I was 28. And as my way of trying to find my path back to myself, I decided I needed to lose weight because I'd gained a lot of weight. So 2008, 2009, I started exercising, I started dieting. 2010, I was convinced my body would never change. I considered liposuction, and right before I had the procedure, a friend of mine told me to give her coach a chance. And in 5 months, I discovered what I'd missed out for 2 years. It wasn't the exercise, it wasn't the diets, it was proper nutrition, and I was able to lose the weight. I was still working in tech. I worked in software development. I was making good money. When my friends would ask me, "Hey, what did you do? Tell me," I'd be like, "Listen, I'm in IT. Go talk to this guy." But over time, people on social media would start reaching out to me from different countries. So that is how I got into, okay, here's how I work out. Here's what I eat. And I got into bodybuilding in the US for 3 years, and I became very successful. I was winning trophies and sharing on social media. So I like to say, I don't think this path is something I pursued. It's something that just happened. And after doing it for a while, coaching people online, I was like, maybe one day I can do this full time. Even though in my mind, I kept thinking, there's no way this can pay me as well as technology does. But I decided to give it a chance. And I told myself, I'm going to quit my job, give it a try. And in 12 months, if nothing happens, I'll come back and get a job.
And the rest is history because you've been
The rest is history.
Now,
with ups and downs.
With ups and downs. And we
Yes.
want to talk about those ups and downs because
Yeah.
it's not easy to build a brand, right? Now, as you said, it was not intentional at first,
No.
but it grew into something. I mean, I remember your Facebook community has hundreds of thousands of women who are on there. This is She Means Business.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the business side of growing a brand so that it can convert to something that can pay you and pay you well. So you started out in fitness.
Yes.
You pivoted to nutrition.
Yes.
Now, what did it look like growing that brand into something that actually pays you? Because they say these days, you have to have a community. You can't just come and tell people, I offer this, and there's no connection. So tell us, how do you build a brand that is bankable? Take us through that whole journey, because it's been ups and downs.
Yes. So first of all, what I think I did without knowing is I was sharing on social media. I was consistently sharing, here's what I did today at the gym, here's my log of what I ate all week. I started doing something back then that I didn't know would pay dividends years later. I was showing up on social media, number one. Number two, I was showing up on social media talking about something I was passionate about. So number one, it's showing up on the platforms. Number two, it's pick something that gives you fire, that keeps you excited. Because I could have faded off and gotten into crypto, real estate. I could have pivoted and gotten into AI, but my message was the same. I've still been in the same industry, health and wellness. I started in fitness, I pivoted to nutrition. It's the same industry, right? So the mistakes people make when they're starting any business or trying to get in the social media space is you can't build a brand. You can't build a digital footprint when you post and share once a month. Number two, you can't share once a month and then every 3 months you're talking about you're doing something different. You have to sing the song until who comes to roost? They come to roost. Yes.
The chickens.
The chickens come to roost. You have to, but that only happens when whatever you're talking about is something that is almost in your DNA. Yeah. It's not something you can fake. And I remember in 2012, when I came to visit Nairobi, I had just done a bodybuilding competition. I remember one of my friends inviting me to do an interview on KTN. Before I knew it, I was on Capital Radio. I was on the newspaper. I put no effort. But because for 2 years, people had been seeing me on social, things that I could have never planned began to unfold.
Yeah.
So there's that red thread or secret sauce, which is you can't fake passion. And during that time, a lot of girls in Kenya began trying to do what I was doing. And many years later, I'm always like, where did they go? I mean, I'm still here. I'm still singing the same song, right? Because what I'm doing is not, I'm doing this because it's the quickest way to make money. It's my life. It's what I still do. It's 15 years later. I'm still subscribing to the things I teach. So 2015 is when I tasted making money online. And at that time, I was here in Kenya when I launched my first ebook, The 10-Day Detox. And I remember it was actually August 2015, 10 years ago. Even though I started posting on social media in 2010, I was coaching a few people here and there, making a little money, but it was 4 years later, 2010, 5 years later that I banked. I couldn't have banked had I not been consistent online. And I remember releasing that book while being here in Kenya for a few months, but that book, that first week, sold in 24 countries. And I made my first million shilling in a matter of days. And that's when I said, oh my God, my business is going to be online.
Wow. Awesome. And there are a number of things that I want us to explore there. First of all, you said consistency and passion. Now, the thing about business is sometimes, you know where I'm going. Sometimes you're so passionate about something, but is it what the market wants? There are people who have said, I'm so passionate about baking, for instance, and there are millions of bakers, and they say there's space for everybody, but not everybody is making it. How many small businesses don't get to become a big business? So what is the role of strategic use of data, for example, to see, is this what the market wants? Because we all have passions, but not everybody is able to convert that passion into something that pays. So what made it work for you? Because as you said, there are so many people who started out with you fitness. They left it.
Where
Probably
are they?
they're not making the
It was
money
a
that they
phase.
thought.
It was
right?
a phase.
Yes.
Yes. So every market, there's nothing new under the sun unless you're Elon Musk, right? There's not, everything that you're trying to do has been done, is being done, will continue being done. Health and fitness is such a saturated space. We're millions of us online. But what differentiates between you being successful from other bakers is, what are you doing different? You have to be willing to stand out from the crowd by finding someone who will teach you how to do that. I did not get here today myself. Over the last 7 years, I did the math. I've invested over $250,000 in paying coaches, not going to school, not traditional education, but looking and finding who's the person doing what today, what I would like to do and has done it well. So not just someone who's teaching the topic, not the practical. I need theory. I need to see your numbers. I need to know you're making millions. So I work with people who've walked the path, succeeded. So when they look at my business, they can see where I'm stuck and how I need to quickly grow. The shortest distance from here to success is getting the shortcut, and paying is how you do it. However, most people are not willing to do that. Like, people will take a loan to go to college for a master's. I refused to go to school for a master's, and actually my mother did not talk to me for 6 months because, you know, as an African mother, you don't tell your mother no. It was a thing. And I remember telling her, I'm going to build an online business. And I started paying coaches, and she'd be like, you could have spent that money getting a master's in tech. Why? I don't want to be. Tech is good, but I wasn't fulfilled. I'm trying to grow this baby called my coaching business. So in 2017, I was living in Kenya on and off, 2015, 2016. I went back to the US because my brother was struggling with mental health. Unfortunately, he took his life. He committed suicide. And when that happened, I decided to stay there for a few months. And while staying there, I was like, you know what? I want to build my business. I want it to grow. Before I go back to Kenya, let me see what I can do. And then I realized something because of Facebook. The information I see on Facebook when I'm in Kenya versus when I'm in the US is different. When I'm in the US, because of my interests, I see so many coaches who offer what I'm looking for. When I'm in Kenya, I'm blocked. So I decided to resettle back in the US and really go deep on building my business, because in my gut, there was this little annoying feeling that told me I had barely scraped the surface with my ebooks. In 2015, 2016, I ended up creating about 4 ebooks that I was selling online, and I was making some money, but I kept feeling I need to keep growing, but I didn't have the knowledge. So what was I to do? In the US, I said, okay, I need to invest in the best coaches. I actually took a 9-to-5 when I went back to the US, and I gave myself a year. So 2017 to 2018, I went back to corporate, worked in tech. April 2018, I quit my job to do this the right way. And I'd saved money and I was ready to invest. But long story short, I made some stupid financial decisions, lost my money. And I remember thinking, do I go back and get a job and save again? And I decided to take a loan bank. And during that time, I met the coach that I knew would change my life. And to work with him was $12,000 for 8 weeks. That's about $1.34 million for 8 weeks. That's why I took a loan and I paid him. In a matter of months, I think the program ended in 2 months. By the end of another 3 months, I'd made about $70,000. And I remember thinking, had I gone back to corporate, I'd have gone comfortable and I wouldn't have been so desperate to make this work. That was the first coach I ever hired. And every year, ever since 2018, every year I have a business coach. Every year I have the person who's going to take me to the next level. And this is the thing that a lot of people don't do. You will not stand out from your industry without you doing things other people are not doing.
Yeah. And very interesting there, because as you said, people don't want to pay for coaches. You know, people usually come and say, be my mentor. Yes, just teach me. And why would I spend that money on someone? But as you said, the people who are making that kind of money that we dream are doing the things that people are not willing to do. And as you talked about getting a coach and spending that $12,000 on it, it reminded me of this book by Tiffany Aliche, and it's called Get Good with Money. And she gave this story of how she hired this coach who guaranteed that, you know, he'll teach you business and you'll become this billionaire, but it was a fake. So that is the problem also people have, because there are all these coaches who claim to be able to help you do X, Y, Z, but some are fraud. So you're like,
there's a criteria I use. For every coach I've ever worked with, and there are many, because I work with 2 or 3 coaches a year, I find them on social media. The same way people find me is the way I find my coaches. The difference, I watch them for months, sometimes years. I attend their master classes. I sometimes contact their clients. I do my due diligence, because now that I understand marketing, somebody can make anything sound good, and after you pay, you realize it's garbage on the other side. So I had to come up with my criteria. I paid for a coach that I found out was a fraud, and when I stopped paying, she was taking me to court in the US, by the way. And this was a $100 million a year coach that had a big name. So me being myself, I said, fine, take me to court. I have proof that what you said you would provide, you didn't provide. And I hired a lawyer and they disappeared. Okay, so I'm not scared of playing hardball, because as a result of being a weight loss coach, people started asking me to help them grow their businesses online. So I know that what I expect from a coach is the same thing my clients expect of me, right? So there's a way to go about vetting people who are really doing what they say and not falling for the smoke screen, because anyone can go take photos, look pretty, but that's not their life. They're broke.
Exactly, yeah. With social media, you cannot be sure who is real, who is fake. But let's also talk about some financial decisions, because as a business owner, as you said, there are some decisions that you made and you're like, whoa, I could have done better. Let's talk a little bit about that, because even as people are watching, they should be able to pick and say, okay, maybe I should also be careful with my business as I'm growing my business. Let me not make the same mistake. Tell us some of the mistakes you made while growing your business that you think of in hindsight that was not the best decision.
So first, I think I spent too much time trying to do the same thing over and over, even though financially I wasn't making more money. It's like, okay, but when I did the first ebook, I was making more money. When I did the second book, I was making money. By the third, the returns were decreasing, but I kept doing the same thing, hoping that it will make me more money. And we know what they say about insanity. It's repeating the same thing over and over. So as a business owner, knowing that what got me here will not get me there. I need new skills. I need a new tool set. Again, where do I get that? From someone who is ahead of me, right? The second thing was, I've told you that I had my first coach in 2018. In 2017, I'd spoken to a coach that I'd followed for many years online. She's from California. I remember getting on the phone with her, and when she told me that her program was $10,000 and that was a mastermind, I got off the phone thinking, like, how dare she? Why would she charge that much? Forget you. But see, I spent a year and I was still in the same spot when I met the new coach who charged me $12K for 8 weeks. So the lesson here is, when you ask for, oh my gosh, I need to know what to do, you might want to make more money, but your mind is not ready. I wasn't ready. I kept saying I wanted to grow the business, but when the right person was put in front of me, oh, it's too expensive. How dare she ask for so much? Here's the irony. 2 years later, I went to that first coach who I thought was too expensive, and I worked with her, and by then she doubled her prices. mentally, I was ready. So number two, if you're looking to grow your business, understanding that even local businesses, for you to do something that's going to level you up, you need some different things to get there. And you'll either have to do research, you'll either have to find someone to tell you or pinpoint and say, you're doing this, how about you change this? The third thing is, we're so good at trying to do everything ourselves. Like we get PhDs from YouTube. We want to spend hours watching videos, and knowledge is amazing, but knowledge is actually potential power. It's power when you do the thing. And I remember thinking the same, that why would I pay someone to show me this when I just need to watch YouTube videos? So sometimes we believe we just need more information, but what you really need is execution. And for you to execute, most of the time, even for myself, I need someone who says, this week we're accomplishing this. When we meet next week, this should be done. I need someone to hold my hand through the process.
Yeah.
So those are the mistakes. I thought I could do it on my own. I wanted to grow, but my money had this stingy mindset of I can't pay that much. Thinking I can learn, I can do it all. And finally, when I was desperate, I did what I needed to do, and things worked out.
Yeah, I like that idea of mindset. And you know, the way you're saying, initially you were like, how dare you charge me all this money? I want you to talk about that, because sometimes business owners, and this happens more for women, honestly, they have a price. They've put their price, they're costing their markup, their other things, and they're saying, you know, I'm offering this service and this is my price. And then they're like, why are you charging that? X person is charging like half. Like, who do you think you are? So what would you say to women about, you know, just being confident in, this is my price, this is the work I've put in, and you can take it or leave it? Because at the same time, sometimes they get discouraged because, man, now people are not coming. So am I going to stay here with 0 clients, or am I going to reduce my price and get? Yeah.
I've been I've been told that I am one of the most expensive coaches. And when I hear that, before, it used to make me feel, oh my God, people won't afford me. Now I proudly standing it. Why? Because I know what I'm delivering. There might be other people delivering the same, but by God, what I do is amazing. I deliver amazing results to my weight loss clients. And when they're done, they sing my praises. I am so confident in what I do that if 10 people tell me I'm too expensive, I'm okay. I'm waiting for the one person who will say, Jane, I'm ready. I don't need to service everyone. I'm only for the people who get what I'm doing. Just as back in the day, I wanted to do lipo. I didn't have the money, but I had 2 credit cards. I was willing to lean on credit cards because I wanted it and I knew it would solve my problem. So if you find yourself feeling like, oh my God, everyone says I'm expensive, maybe I should lower my prices. Again, it's the mindset of how you're thinking about what you're doing. It's never about money. It's not about money. It's about you understanding what you do, knowing there are millions who do what you do, but you really carving out your own lane and standing or staying there come rain, come sunshine, or come high water. You're like, nope, this is my lane. I'm not for everyone. I stay here and wait for those who are for me as well.
Yeah, I like that. You're not for everyone. And I want us to explore that a little bit before we move into this health and wellness sphere. You're not for everyone.
No.
So there are millions, as you said, millions of coaches, nutrition coaches, fitness coaches, and so on and so forth. What is your unique value proposition that you'd say, as Jane, I know this is what I bring to the table, and if you can't afford?
So my unique value proposition from a business standpoint is understanding that I was once in the shoes of women trying to lose weight. I tried to exercise. I did many diets. I was exercising twice a day. Nothing worked until I considered a solution that was $7,000 that I didn't have for lipo, right? So over the years, I've created my own methodology. It's called the push weight loss method. This method is the method, after being in the bodybuilding space, that I created for myself to sustain my weight loss. I lost weight in 2010. That's what, 15 years ago. And I actually was looking for something to wear and realized this is the dress, same dress that I wore in 2012 when they recorded a documentary about my weight loss journey. And that documentary is on Amazon. I'm wearing a dress from 13 years ago. I did this because of a method I created that helps women eat what they want, enjoy carbs, and they don't have to exercise, and they'll still lose weight. That's my unique value proposition. Not from something I learned from school, but something I created. It's my IP.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. I like that. And now let's talk a little bit more about this health and wellness space, because right now there's the liposuctions. There are these diet pills, the one for diabetes.
Bypass.
Yes.
Yep.
There are all these injections and whatnot. What do you say to women who, they say, I've tried everything, nothing is working. I said, you look good. You've been in this for a while and you still look good. And they say as you get older, it gets harder to lose the weight and stuff like that.
Yes,
girl. So what do you say about people choosing these other alternatives? And is there hope to lose that weight and lose it permanently? Because we've seen people do procedures and then get the weight back again. So
yep. Yesterday, I talked about this on Instagram stories. I was like, I have a client who did liposuction in December 2023. She came to me in June, like, hey, I did lipo. First of all, it took 6 months for my body to stop swelling. And I only lost a few kilos and I looked the same and I looked disproportionate, right? She worked with me and she's like, where had you been before I paid the lipo money? Because now I know how to eat and keep the weight off. I'm now having clients who are on GLP-1s, the injections. They're like, this medication is making me not eat. And I know I'm only losing weight while I'm on it. When I stop the injections, or when they stop the injections, the appetite comes back. So they're like, can you teach me how to eat so I can get off this medicine and lose weight and keep it off? I've worked with people who had swallowed the gastric balloon, lost weight, gained it back. I just met a woman on Sunday at the mall who did a gastric bypass, and she recognized me from social media. She's like, I did a gastric bypass. I lost 20-something kilos and I've gained it over the last 12 months. I'm like, yeah, I've worked with people. So there's so many solutions. My thing is there's more power, there's more freedom and control when you can control your weight with something that you're not paying for. Something where it's more of you've learned a skill. We don't learn enough about nutrition in school, disease, weight loss. We don't learn enough about finances. We don't learn anything about relationships. These are the 3 areas of life where you have to go experiment. As we say, you get character development along the way before you learn the lesson, right? So the people who are more, they're pragmatic like me, I'm very curious. If you tell me, I remember my coach would tell me, don't eat this, don't eat that. I'd be like, why? When I know the why, something will stick. If I teach you how to eat and I tell you, hey, here's how you eat, here are the times you eat, why you eat this way, why you can't eat chocolate every day, but you can eat it a few times a month. When you give person the why, there's stickability, or there's more chances that it will become a lifestyle. They'll say, okay, I can't have wine every night, but Jane has taught me how to enjoy it when I need it, So that's my thing.
Yeah, okay. We'll go a little bit more into the business side, but now that we're here, and I'm sure there are a lot of ladies who are listening here, and they're like, this is free consultation. Speak to us about people who have cravings. The people you hear like, I can't just beat this sugar craving or wheat. I have tried. I said I'm going to take it in proportion, but I just can't kick off the habit. What are they doing wrong? How do you get rid of a craving?
Cravings are caused by different things. We all will have cravings during our cycle, before, after PMSing. Normal. They'll hit at some point, but they will not be as bad when you're eating healthy. All other cravings, when it's not your cycle, they're habitual. You're used to having this every day. Every day after lunch, you're used to having something sweet. So every day after lunch, when you don't, your body asks you for it. It's habitual. Our bodies are like machines. Our bodies are like the smartest algorithm. They adapt, optimize based on what you feed them. If I drink enough water daily, the day on Sunday I don't drink enough water, my body asks for it. So our bodies are all controlled by the inputs we input. The only problem is we've done so much damage by inputting the wrong things. And then when we try to stop, we wonder why it's hard, because we're addicted. You're addicted to the sugar, the wheat, the thing, the fried food, whatever your thing is. When you try to stop, you're like going through withdrawals, because food addiction is it's hormonally, psychologically has been proven. And I teach this to my clients. I'm like, when you get to a point where you feel this is taking over, I want you to realize that you're trying to break a neural pathway in your brain that's been so deep. It's psychology. So at that point, you understand, whoo, I'm going through withdrawals like a junkie, but it just happens to be that the item is chocolate or wine, right? So cravings are not cravings and a crazy appetite. It's not that they're running your life. It's what you've created. So you have to unlearn everything you know and learn how to rewire all that. And that's the work I do pretty much.
Awesome. Now let's go back to the business element. So you did the ebooks and then you did a book in 2023.
I finally became a published author in 2023 thanks to my business coach for pushing me to do that. I would not have done that. And it became an international best-selling book in the US, a few countries in Europe, and a few countries in Asia. And it's a weight loss book. It's me sharing about my weight loss process and something that people can refer to. It's only available on Amazon, so I don't like sell copies in Kenya unless you order from Amazon. And it's pretty much me putting in words what I teach women in my coaching programs. I also do offer an opportunity for women on social media to find me and come sample what I do. And in case in point, this Monday, which is September 8th, I'm kicking off a 7-day challenge where I coach you and tell you how to eat, so you can kind of get a feeling of what I'm helping women do. And the weight loss method I shared with you helps women lose anywhere from 5 to 50 kilos without exercise. Yes, and it's because it's rooted in science. I'm all about science, so I use science-based protocols to help women with it.
Okay, I have a number of follow-up questions about that. One, when it comes to the book, what does it mean to be a best-selling author? Because, you know, I'm also an author and people threw that word around a lot. So what does it mean? What's the threshold? How many books have you sold? What is the criteria to be in a best-selling author list? Because it's different for Kenya, for abroad and stuff like that. Speak to that and then I'll ask you the other questions.
In the US, when you publish a book, wherever you publish it, say on Amazon, you have to hit the algorithm's threshold by getting as many purchases as possible. When your book is purchased by a certain number for your category, now I don't know those threshold numbers, I had to work with a publishing house. When your book is downloaded over a certain period of time and it gets in your category, so I'm in health and wellness, and it gets a lot of purchases, then it starts getting ranked. Just like music, when a song first drops, depending on the plays, it starts as, oh, it's just another new song, and then depending on how popular it gets, it starts going up the charts. It's the same thing with the book.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about this space, because you talked about being backed by science. You know, there's usually a lot of controversies when we talk about things to do with health and wellness. They're like, okay, are you certified? Are you this? Are you that? So what are some of the challenges that you have faced building your business, being in a very sensitive domain? Because as we said, there are a lot of quacks around here. I say, I'm a weight loss, I'm a nutritionist, but you didn't go to school for it. So tell us about what you did deliberately to make sure that even when I'm saying that I'll help you lose weight X, Y, Z, I can actually give you that advice. And then also speak to this fact of you're focusing on nutrition and not fitness. So what is the role of fitness? Because people usually say you still have to get your fitness right, especially as you grow older. You have to lift those weights. There's no two ways about it.
Okay, so I'll start with the first, which was about certifications. So I went to college for computer information systems. When I began my journey, when I was working with the coach I told you about, I'd constantly ask him questions about, especially when I was bodybuilding, when I had to have a six-pack and be 8% body fat, I'd ask him questions like, this week, why did you ask me to not eat tomatoes? And he'd give me a reason, and I'd go do research. When I started coaching people unofficially, like friends and family, I decided to go back and start getting certified in nutrition because I wanted to understand more of what have I been doing. I know the coach told me to eat this way and that way, but I still have questions. So my education in nutrition began in 2012. Following up with that, I attended an institute where I went to school for a year, still in nutrition. I've been, 2 years ago, I went to Harvard School of Medicine. And again, I got another certification, still learning on nutrition. I graduated from another school 2 or 3 years ago, still in nutrition. So I've consistently stayed in school for nutrition first for myself, because I believe that I can't teach not what I know, but what I've done. I teach from, here is what I've learned and what it did for me. Now let me show you. I never ask my clients to do something that I know nothing about. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that element of fitness, the role of fitness. So we can lose weight if we eat portion control and stuff like that.
Properly.
But what's the role of fitness? Because you can lose weight, but you're...
Scientifically, exercise only accounts for 5% of calorie burn. 80% of you burning fat and losing weight is nutrition. Okay? So what happens is psychological. If a woman comes to me who says, oh my God, my knees hurt, my back hurts, I've tried to lose weight, I've done diets, nothing works, it's okay. We'll work on nutrition. You're going to start losing weight. And naturally what happens is you have more energy, you look better, you're happy. Guess what? They naturally now want to exercise. They're not being forced to exercise to lose weight. Now they're like, oh my God, look at me. I look good. Now that I have all this going on for me, I'm excited to work out. So I'm not anti-exercise. What I say is, if you're asking me today, Jane, I want to lose weight, I want to really look my best, I'm tired of dragging this body around, where do I start? Start with nutrition. If you've already been exercising and not making progress and you come to me, I won't tell you to stop exercising. I'll say, great, you're exercising. Let's tweak your diet and watch the fat drop. I exercise. I'm not anti-exercise, but I like to speak to women who've tried everything, nothing's worked, and they know that exercising is not the first thing on their list. They're like, I hate it. I don't have time for it. My body hurts. I'm like, I got you. Come. Let's lose weight so that when you finally go to the gym, your body's not aching because you're heavy. Now you're able to move better and you're enjoying the exercise. So I talk about exercise, or like to talk about it, after my clients have seen their progress. They're more open to now wanting to exercise. Exercise is extremely important. It's not good for fat loss. It's good for mental health. It's good for building strength to avoid osteoporosis, make sure your bones are healthy. It's good for heart health, but it's not the best place to start when it comes to fat loss.
Okay,
Yes.
Thanks for that clarification. And as we start to wrap up, I'd like you to talk about diversification, because sometimes people start businesses and they're like, okay, this is working. You talked about like the ebooks, it was working to a point, then it's like you had to change strategy and so on and so forth. What role has diversification played in your journey? So you're a coach, you have your clients, but are you diversified to make sure that your financial portfolio looks, at least, if this is not giving money today, there's this and that? Speak to that.
So I think it's more pivot than diversifying, because in the online space, you can be diversified. People should only know you as being good at one thing. If you're trying to be like, oh yeah, I'm a weight loss coach, I can help you lose weight, I can help you make money in crypto, you've lost credibility. Okay, so you never diversify not your brand, but your starter niche. Okay, I had to be a weight loss coach online before I started, and well known for that, before I started coaching people on how to use social media. People first knew me as, oh, they still think I'm a fitness chick. right? They're like, oh, it's that chick who talks about fitness and food. Like, you already knew me and trusted me in this before I introduced, hey, if you want to learn how I've grown my business online, come I show you the same, right? But I couldn't have grown both of them at the same time. You can't diversify. What you do is focus on being known for one category, then use that digital footprint to grow another arm, but you're still known for the other. When I talk about I was doing ebooks and they were not working, I needed to grow. So I stopped selling ebooks. I now got into coaching, right? Then when I figured, oh, okay, I want to make more, I want to help people and make more money by doing something I've done well. Not something that I read and heard, but something I'm doing. I went into, let me help you grow your business using the things I'm doing. Then I have a third arm. People who lost weight now started wanting to help others and make money. So my third business is I certify people with my method. So those are my three businesses.
Okay.
But as you can see, they're all babies of the first business.
I like that. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So
yeah. So I think I've answered that.
Yeah, I like that. Now, as we conclude, I'd like you to speak a little bit about people, women out there specifically, who are trying to grow their brands and grow online businesses. What would be 2 tips that you would give them? I know you've already spoken to quite a number, but 2 tips that you would give to women who they're saying, maybe you are in IT, I'm not passionate about this, but there's something that I feel can work online, but I just don't know where to start. Will it work? What tips would you give them to get that thing they're passionate about and grow it to something that can actually earn them good money?
First, don't quit your job like I did. I'm a risk taker. Use your 9 to 5 to fund your purpose business, okay? So use that money to play around. But for you to figure out what your thing is, simply do an inventory of what am I really good at? What do I help my friends and family with? What do they come to me seeking advice for? Is it, look at my resume, I'm looking for a new job, help me with, I'm struggling with my relationship. Usually your thing is so simple, but you don't see it because it's you. But it's the thing people are constantly asking you to help them with. So start by simply, I'd say, ask your 3-4 closest friends, hey, what am I really good at? What comes so easily to me? Because they can see you, you can't see yourself. And they'll start giving you ideas of things you could start trying out. So that's from what do I do. Second, if you want to do this in the online space, this online space is savage. It's noisy. Company kila mahali. Everyone is a coach, okay? So you need to step up your game. The only way to step up your game is go do the things that most people are not doing. And that includes paying to get there. Yeah. Invest in yourself.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Jane.
Thank you.
You've heard it from Jane. Sometimes we've got to spend money to make money.
Absolutely.
And really invest in yourself and ask your friends, what am I good at? Because you cannot see what you're good at. You need another eye to tell you about that. We've been speaking to Jane Mukami, who is a nutrition coach and has a best-selling book. This has been She Means Business. I have been your host, Claire Munde. Until next time, have a good one.